Yo, 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 it's your boy H2O. I want to welcome you to another edition, another episode of the New Balance podcast. Listen, it's so good to see you on today. And once again, we are back. We are back. Listen, I have a treat for you today. But before I jump into my treat today and my special guest, I want to thank everyone who supported, who pushed, and you still talking about marching towards manhood. Listen, we spent 2 months chopping it up with the brothers. Phenomenal, just results. Men, lives being touched and changed and made better. And I'm so glad that I could be a part of it. And I'm so glad that it's been a blessing to you. Stay tuned. We're not finished. We're going to hit it again later on this year. But obviously, we must move on. And which kind of leads us into today. Starting a new month. And as you all know, this is Mother's Day weekend. And I want to just stop and say happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers, right? Mothers who've been mothers in different seasons of life, soon to be mothers, right? Whether close or down the road, I want to celebrate you. And I can't say happy Mother's Day without shouting out two special mothers. I want to honor my mother who's gone on to be with the Lord. You see me sitting here, but I would not be sitting here without her. So love you, mama. Rest easy. And I have to say happy Mother's Day to my boo thing, the best thing, my prime rib, my baby mama, Antoinette. I love you. Happy Mother's Day. I just so appreciative of mothers. And I'll delve a little more into that a little later as we get into the podcast. But listen, New Balance Podcast. I don't even know how I want to introduce this young lady. I think our friendship is very unique. Just to give you a little backdrop, I've probably been knowing her for maybe like 15 minutes. That's what it feels like to a degree. No, we met through a kind of a series of the possibility to work on a joint project. And that's kind of how we connected. But I know bigger than that, and I believe she'll attest to this. It wasn't necessarily about that particular joint project. I believe it was God connecting us up for such a time as this. And I think in the short time that I've known her and we've talked, you about to be blown away by her life and her passions. And I don't want to waste any more time. I want to dive right in. New Balance Podcast. Show some love for my sister, Miss Vanity Hill. Vanity, what's up?
Hello. I'm happy
Yes.
to be here.
Oh man, we're so happy. Listen to have you. I know when we had met initially and we talked. I told my wife, I'm like, yo, she's got to be on the podcast. We got to have her on, and if all says the same, we'll have her on. And of course, when we talk, he was like, absolutely, I want to be a part of it. And we're here today, and I'm telling you, you are in for a treat. So, Vanny, how you feeling? What's going on with you? Talk to me.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm tired. It's a launch
Ah,
week for my second book week, so I am like, whew, I need a nap.
absolutely.
But
Yes,
but
yes.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
Listen, we're gonna delve into that. I'm gonna talk a little bit about labor today, right? And anybody that knows, you don't have to have. I've never had a baby physically, but I understand the process. When you have a baby, you birth something. Listen, being tired is a part of it, right? But just because you're tired doesn't mean you don't still have to work. So we started off a little bit talking about just shouting out Mother's Day. And we've deemed this whole month, we've called this podcast, this series, No Epidural. And, when you think about mothers in the natural, mothers are birthers. You know, that's part of their makeup. If they're going to be children in the earth, they come through mothers, right? So your body, your whole makeup has been designed to birth, right? And one thing about men, we don't have the capability to do that. I think women are so unique in how God designed you spiritually, physically, mentally. Is very, very incredible. The makeup of women, and women have this strength and this fortitude about them, like no other species on the planet Earth, right? And so when you think about that, the reason I said no epidural, we understand that there are all different type of ways to have a baby, but we understand there are sometimes where women, in order to have the baby, they absolutely need to have an epidural, right? And I thank God for the technology. That's a great thing if it can help mom during that process. Trust me, I've been at a few, and man, woo, I was like, God, thank you that I am a boy. Woo, man, having a baby. But the epidural, it comes to be a help. It comes to assist the mother in something that's so powerful and so life giving. Now, on the flip side of that, the reason I named the podcast that is because in life, when it comes to your purpose, when it comes to the thing that God has called you to do, unfortunately, there is no spiritual epidural that you can take. And that's the whole twist on it. I think a lot of us are waiting in life for this certain assistance to birth what God has put on the inside of us. But when I talk to you and we've chopped it up, the things that you birthed, I know they were hard, they were tough, and you'll attest, you didn't get no epidural. No, no, no. You had to roll up your sleeve. You had to put in the work. Just like you said, you're tired, right? My wife, she was with our son, she was in labor for 28 hours. I can't even imagine. I'm like, okay, kill me. Y'all go ahead. It's over. Get the baby and leave me
Happy
alone.
Mother's Day to her.
Yes, she was in
Happy
labor for
Mother's
28.
Day.
She was in labor for 28 hours. But this is what's so powerful. She wouldn't move by the 28 hours. She wouldn't even move by the pain and everything that went along with. She was only focusing on birthing what was on inside of her. And she loved and she appreciated what was on inside of her so much. She said, if I have to be here 36 hours, if I have to be here 48 hours, I'm going to have what's on the inside of me. And so I have a guest on today that has birthed some things and she's birthing things. And so we're just going to dissect a couple of things and have this conversation. So I want you watching specifically, if you're a mother, if you're a sister, auntie, grandmother, niece, whatever your title is, listen, God has some things for you to birth in life. And I want to just encourage you. We're going to take this journey this month. It's about birthing. It's about birthing. You still have purpose. If you're breathing, you're living, you're here today, you still have purpose. Now, what my sister has birthed, I'm not saying you're supposed to birth that. You have to find out from God the things. And many of you, you know what it is. Sometimes you just need to push to go ahead and birth it. So I've been really chopping. I don't want to talk as much today, Vanity. We really want to hear from you. So the other day, I've been thinking about how I really want to delve into my conversation, but I think I want to start with this because this was so powerful to me. And this guy kind of does this thing with me. We were talking and you were sharing so many powerful things with me. And in the moment, God said this to me and I said it to you. And I want you to elaborate on it when you hear me say this. And it was this: it's time that your handprint and your life print be written in print. And the reason it needs to be done that so we can help and inspire somebody else. It's time for us to share our stories over stigmas. So what would you say to that? You know, we were having that conversation and that just kind of erupted out of me based on our conversation.
Right. I told you I was gonna put that on canvas. So
Absolutely.
I'm just
You
making it
go right
pretty,
ahead.
but
You have my permission, right? Listen, Vanity has my permission to do that. The rest of you, y'all need to come holler at your boy.
what that means to me upon first hearing it, I was thinking about my first book. My first
Yes.
book is titled A Girl and Her Grandpa. And so I've been writing since I was a little girl.
Yeah.
Um, I think I told you I started writing a book when I was 11. I wrote short stories, I wrote poems, I wrote songs. I've just been writing and writing, but it hadn't really gone anywhere. You know, I hadn't taken it anywhere as a
Right.
child. And so over the years, I kind of didn't write as much. And so when I finally got to 2020,
Yes.
I had been trying to think of a subject for my first book. Like,
Okay.
what could it? It wasn't myself because I thought, maybe I should write some like a book about myself, like about my life so far. And I'm like, it wasn't really sticking.
Right.
And so I thought about the most important person, one of the most important relationships I've ever had in my life.
Yes.
I'm like, that's how I should kick this off by showing my grandfather's footprint in my print. And
Oh,
so that is
wow.
where A Girl and Her Grandpa came from. And
Awesome.
it just talks about a relationship between a granddaughter and a grandfather, and how much she loves him and why she loves him, and
Yes.
just thanking him for being who he is. And that is what I want to do. My grandfather passed away in 2012, and so many of the things I've done, I have dedicated to him. And so when you
Mm,
say the handprint and the footprint imprint, not only am I trying to leave my own legacy, I'm trying to even further the legacy of my grandparents and then my
perfect.
parents. I'm trying to bring all of these special elements into the fold as I go
Yeah.
through this author journey.
Right. I think that's so powerful. And even before I said that, you were already saying those things. That's what really jumped out at me. It's like most people, um, a lot of times you just like, man, I'm really trying to find my place. I'm trying to find my footing, and really, I'm gonna do my thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Please, you're watching this. It's not. Listen, do your thing. I'm sitting on the podcast. This is my thing, right? This is one of the things I birthed. But in the same breath, when you think about heritage, when you think about legacy, we have a responsibility. Now, no, let me say this: we have an obligation, right? And I think sometimes that is the missing ingredient in terms of us having the forward movement in the areas of life that we need. And so it's just really rare to hear someone have that focus, and not only have the focus, but be unashamed to share it, right? And so when you were talking, we definitely connected when we begin to talk about our relationships with our grandfathers. And, just seeing his handprint when you were talking, even though I've never met your grandfather, I've never even seen a picture of him, but yet I've met him and I've seen him in listening to you. And that's what's supposed to happen. So obviously, if he was alive and he could speak to you, I know he would be so very, very proud. And you said something now that's so clear. I don't want people to miss this. You said, yeah, I am working on leaving my print in life and my legacy, but I'm also doing everything that I can to further his legacy, right? Because when you understand doing your own thing, we didn't get here by ourselves. It was somebody. It was a village. You know the saying. It takes a village to raise, and in most cases, it takes a village. But now, what's incredible is we go from it taking a village to raise us to becoming or being a part of a village. Talk to me about just that mindset, being able to stand and allow somebody to stand on your shoulders so that they can see and have vision. Talk a little about that, Vanity.
Oh, absolutely. My family is my village. I have really great friends that I have an amazing village. And so my dad actually published his first book in 2016. And
Incredible.
so my whole life I had no idea he wanted to be an author. He just
Right.
kept telling me to do it. He kept every week he kept pushing me to be
Right.
an author.
Right.
So he popped up with this book, and I'm like, well, hold on now. So it was like that first bit of like, I can do this. Like, if my
Absolutely.
daddy can do it, like it was
Absolutely.
the first time, I have other authors in my family, but it was the first time up close that I could see, like, if he did it, I can totally do it. And
Absolutely.
so it's like once I did my first book, it was like I was standing on, his shoulders. And so, and I have another cousin. Her name is Courtney Hill Washington. She came out
Yes.
with a book about relationships. I have another cousin. I have so many people around me that are authors now, or have
Yes.
became authors in the last like maybe 5 to 10 years. And
Yes.
so it's so inspiring to
Right.
just have people around me, and even for those that aren't authors,
Right.
just being told, You're writing, you have a gift for it and you need to put it out there. You need to just try it, try something new. That's my
Right.
family. They push me, to just look into it. Just look
Right.
into getting in this place or look into, having being on a pod, just look into it. And so I stand on all of their shoulders. I wouldn't be here without their support. I would not be at this place, this particular place, without my fiance's support either.
Absolutely.
He is not an author. Writing is not his thing. He's good at everything else. And he um he helped me with my first book, make it a journal. And so it's a book with the grandfather and the granddaughter, but the back is an activity journal
Okay.
inside the book that you can complete with your grandparent. But I want to open it up to those that didn't have grandparents, or,
Okay.
they may not even have parents right now, but they have a
Okay.
great aunt that's raised them, or, an adopted family. It's for whoever is the special adults that the children have been raised by. It's
Wow.
coloring pages, it's journaling pages. And I thought that that would be a separate thing from the book, but he encouraged me to put it in the book because it was going to be more impactful. And it was more than correct. I have gotten the greatest response from having the journal activity pages in the back. So it's
Incredible.
just that type of support, that type of, bouncing ideas off of each other to help me out and help me figure out what I'm trying to say and just
Right.
configure it all. That is my village. And
Wow.
so that's what I want to be to someone else. I
Absolutely.
want to encourage younger, older. Sometimes I can encourage my older family members to do stuff. So
Absolutely.
I want I don't think it has an age. I don't think inspiration or encouragement has an age.
That's good. Wait a
Yeah,
minute. Say that again. Say that again for the listener.
sure, inspiration and encouragement does not have an age.
That's great.
Not at all. And sometimes people don't even know that they're inspiring you, which brings me to my new book, A Crown Like Mine. It was birthed from my goddaughter, who is 6 now, but she was 5 at the time, a
Right.
conversation that we had. And she was telling me one day when we were doing something, she just felt like she was fat. And I was like, "You're 5. What do you mean you're
Absolutely.
like, you
Right.
were 5? That doesn't even make sense to me." But she really felt that. And that's because she had been either hearing or watching, on those television shows, like any damaging narratives about body image. And so from that day forward, I said, "Oh, I have to write a book." I don't know at what point in my career, but I
Right.
have to write a book on body image because we have all struggled with it. I've struggled with it. And now I hate to see that, my little baby is struggling with it too. And so she was inspiration behind, where's Sage, that one there. She was inspiration behind the main character, um, because I want in real life want to take her on a journey of self love. I want her to realize that she is a kid and just be a kid and not worry about what you look like on the playground or in the classroom, but
Right.
reminding her that God created her to be perfectly the way she is.
Right.
So that is my goal. That's how I want my legacy to go. I want to
Right.
show people, one, that they can do it. Just go for it. Jump into the deep end and swim your way out. That is my life. And then two, that God has created us all to be perfect the way we are. And that doesn't mean that we can't improve or we should not improve or that we
Right.
should stay the same. It just means that He created us to be perfect, and we need to stand in
Absolutely.
that. We need
Absolutely.
to stand in it and not have society's standards dictate who we are supposed to be.
Wow. Well, before I go to this next point, I want the audience to know, and I want you to know, Vanity. We have our Hope Symposium that's happening this summer in July, and we part of that is focusing on children and kids. And I want you to know that we're purchasing 10 of your books, and we're going to give them away at the symposium because I when I talk to you, I know it's like this is going to help some young girl who's dealing with this. Listen, we want to catch it while it's early. You understand? And we want to bless them. I don't want them to pay for it. I want to purchase the book. I want to sow it into their life. Some mom can sit down with her daughter, and even that mother that may be struggling that can't say it, right? Because many times we struggle, and it's like I can't share this with anybody. But many times when you have an outlet, I believe this book is going to be an outlet to help people. So we want you to know, I just believe in what you're doing. We believe in you. And we know your book is going to, I believe the book, it's already going around the world. It's going to help so many families, so many families.
I
Yes,
appreciate that so
absolutely.
much.
Absolutely. And now you talked, when we had the conversation, you talked about your goddaughter. Whenever she watches this, I want you to know your godmother, she loves you. I'm telling you, when you put pen to paper and you let it bleed from the heart, that's love. I don't care what anybody says, right? Not only do you have this passion for your goddaughter, but you have a huge focus on young women, helping young ladies not only get to college, but get through college. You have a fund that gives back to young women. Could you talk a little about that, Vanity?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I created a business called Emerge, and so that's
Yes,
EMHERGE. So it's a play on words. And so I created it to assist young women in getting to college. And what I want to evolve into is getting them to college and through college. But I'm at my
absolutely.
starting point right now. We're gonna do what I can to get them there. And so
Yes.
our first initiative to give back is my scholarship. So I started the James L. Hill Scholarship named after my grandfather in 2019. And
Okay.
so I started under a different, umbrella name. And so now it's under Emerge. And so in 2019, I was able to award our first two winners $500 scholarships each. And
Yes.
it's
Yes.
a dream realized. So
Yes.
this year, I've raised enough and put in enough money to give three $500 scholarships. So I actually will be opening up it's a writing contest. So I'll be opening the applications up in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I'm doing all of this for my birthday month, publishing a book and trying to give back as much as I can, more than I
Wait.
receive. And
I'm
so,
sorry. I'm sorry. You said this is this your birthday month?
yes, May 30th is my birthday.
I see. Listen. We got to quit having
I
stuff in
know, I
common. You know
know.
what I mean? Next, look, like the old people say, next thing you're gonna be like, we cousins. You know, that's how
No,
they say. They say,
right?
girl, you're my cousin. I'm sorry. I just had to capture that. You say your birthday's in May, so no, go right ahead, Vanity.
No, absolutely. So that's our first initiative to give back with these three scholarships. But I want to grow into also providing resources for college applications, a mentorship program for the
Yes.
first year students. And I eventually want to grow the scholarship to encompass more than just 4 year or 2 year institutions because I realize that that's not everyone's path. So
Right.
I want to create something that gives back to those who want to go to technical school, who want to go to
Yes.
cosmetology school. As long as
Yes.
you're pursuing something that you are passionate about, I am all for it. It does not have to be the traditional 4 year institution.
Bingo.
I want to grow into that. Right now, it is for the 2 year, 4 year institutions, but I am definitely going to grow into that because it's something that me and my fiance really believe in. Every
That's good.
college is not for everyone, but as long as you're
Absolutely.
doing, move forward and do something, and I am happy to support it. So that's what we're doing.
Right.
I'm just starting out with it, and so I want to grow and have resources and really be a great one-stop shop for helping these young ladies get prepared and get through college.
Absolutely. Oh man, wonderful, man. This is good stuff. So you are watching, you're listening to myself, you're listening to Vanity. It's like, wow, that's an incredible story. It's very, very inspiring. But I want to take a turn here. And even though, and these are some great things, these are some incredible things, Vanity, it did not start that. And what I want to do here is I want to go back because I want our viewers to know that sometimes you cannot just pull it out of a bag. It's through a series of things. It's the different seasons in life. And I said that to say this, Vanity, I want you to talk to them kind of how it all kind of birthed back in 2007 when you started with a blog. Kind of talk to them how that really started and it kind of propelled you to where you are now.
Absolutely. So it was 2017.
Okay, where did I say?
2007, I was You said 2007.
I'm
I
sorry,
was a child.
2017.
But
Look
it
at me.
started there too.
It started there
It's
too, because
okay.
listen, that's
It
right,
started
because
there too.
grandfather, that's right. So you're right. But it was actually my
So
correction, 2017. Thank you, Vanity. Thank you.
yes. Yes. So it was a year of transformation for me.
Yeah.
I just wasn't where I wanted to be in life. I
Mm,
was accepting like less than I deserved in multiple areas. And
yes.
I one day it just like broke. And I just
Mm,
said, all right, I have to scrap everything that's not serving me
wow.
and start with the things that I love. And so I've never actually put this into writing because I didn't know how. So I'm gonna just tell you the story. So
Okay.
it was one day I just said enough. Like I'm tired of crying, I'm tired of feeling down. And so I just changed everything. But before I did that, I had to get to the root of what I loved. And so
Yes.
what that meant was had my own apartment at the time, and for one weekend, I spent time reading, watching TV, and journaling. Okay,
Okay.
not as much watching TV, but mostly reading and journaling. And I had not done those things. I had not read a book for leisure or journaled
Okay.
since middle school. So it had been a really long time. And so I don't know if you've ever heard of a book called The Shack.
Yes.
And I think it might be by is it Paul Young? It's by
Yeah.
somebody, but it's a great, it has a movie as well.
Yeah.
And so the basis of the book is he is has lost his daughter,
Yes.
and he gets invited back to the shack where they found her, body, and spends the spiritual weekend with God, Jesus and the Holy Spirit. So he spends this weekend with them. I
Yep.
was reading that book during this weekend, and I can't put it into words. I spent the weekend with God, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus.
Absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
it's I can't explain it, but I
Right.
did. I just did. And from that weekend, I changed everything, my
Yeah.
routine. I
That's
started
incredible.
that's when I started blogging. I just said I'm just gonna jump into it and I'm gonna start blogging. And I got a trainer. I mean, I changed everything I didn't like.
Yeah.
And that is where like everything kicked into gear. That was my most major transformation so far. So
Mm,
that is where the blog was birthed. And with that, I did not start with my grandfather because I felt like it was too personal. I was like, I need some time. And I did need time
absolutely.
because it became a book. So I
That's good.
started with Kobe Bryant, who that it was my number one. Last January was very hard for me because
Absolutely.
that was the number one person that I would have wanted to meet ever. So I started my blog with like basically like an open letter to Kobe and what he did for me for like in my 24th birthday, because
Got you.
the number is 24. So from there it got really popular. It got super popular. I kept the blog for maybe a year. Maybe I wrote in it for a year, different kinds of things. But it's funny because this is where it comes a little full circle for me. My second blog post was called "If Readjust Your Crown,"
Okay.
and basically what I wrote in A Crown Like Mine, I had written already in 2017 when I was telling the
Incredible.
story, but from like, a young adult perspective. So actually, as I'm saying that right now, I'm piecing the two and two together that
Absolutely. That's
I
how it happens.
started this. Yes,
Yeah.
I started this in 2017. So
Right.
so that was what the major transformation was. It all boils down to my weekend with Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit. That is
Yeah.
what I feel. No one can tell me different. I don't even tell the story often because I just don't think you would understand.
Absolutely.
That's what happened to me. It was so parallel with what was happening in the book. But yeah,
Wow.
it birthed somebody that would just hit the ground running.
Right.
I started going for it
Right.
after that point.
Oh, that's incredible. I love that. Listen, that's what happens. It puts a demand on what's on the inside of us. And I'm telling you, it's nothing like some good old fashioned trouble to make us have to, hunker down and focus. And when we do that, God said, that's the place I've been wanting you for forever. Because it's there where he can reveal, right? And that book is so powerful. I know the ladies at our previous church, man, they did a journey. I saw God do things in my wife and other sisters in the ministry. It's a powerful tool. The Shack is
Incredible.
very powerful. I wanted I wanted you to share that, and you gave me more than what we bargained for. Sometimes it's kind of depending on what your environment is or what you're exposed to. Sometimes it's kind of hard to jumpstart it. I'm reminded of I grew up country boy, deep country, East Texas, Long Lake, Texas, man, and man, our house where we lived, we didn't have a like the ordinary yard. You know, we didn't have neighbors per se, and like we lived on acreage. So when we cut, we were cutting. But anyway, we had this. Oh my God, man, this lawnmower should have been in the graveyard. But I get it. That's what we could afford. And I'm telling you, man, this thing, I would have to pull it, man, like I don't know, man, over 10 times just to get it, get it started. But it was so powerful. It was a good lawnmower once you got it started. But to get it started, man, you had to pull it. And sometimes with your purpose, finding out who you are, where you're going, I'm telling you, you have to grab that thing and pull it. Now, once we got it started, man, we cut with it all day. It was very, very efficient. And just side note to my family, you waited till I graduated. When I graduated, they went and bought a brand new riding lawnmower. Do you hear me?
Of course.
A riding lawnmower. I came home from school. I'm like, wait, what? They got a riding lawnmower? You can get this like 6 years ago. Anyway, that's just my own little soapbox. Don't pay me no attention. My point is this: in life, you have to pull on it, and you pull on it by the things that are already in your life. Now, she said something about talking about her family. Now, she didn't know that. Vanity didn't know that she was going to be this writer, this blogger, this life influencer, this world changer. But what was crazy was she was already in an environment. God had already put the people in her life that she needed to get started, right? It only thing that was keeping her from doing it was herself. She talked about her weekend. She talked about her shack weekend. And all I'm saying to you, mom, daughter, sister, grandmother, auntie, whomever you are, survey your life. I'm telling you, your life has so much meaning. And you are just more than a mother. Absolutely. You've done a phenomenal job with the kids. The kids are grown on now. Now what? You are more than just a wife. You've been a phenomenal wife. You're great. But there's more to you. I'm like the Transformers. There's more to you than meets the eye. It's time for you to transform into the other things that are inside of you. You're more than just that. And so just to hear your transformation and to see it, Vanity, I think it's just very inspiring. I want to ask you some questions. And I know we talked about your relationship with your grandfather, but if I would ask you, who would be three women who inspired you, who would those three women be?
Um, well, you have to start with my mama.
Absolutely.
So my mama, Patricia, is the reason I am sitting here today. And
Absolutely.
they said I look
Absolutely.
just like her. So
Oh, wow.
so it's really like she's talking through me, but she'll be my first inspiration, showing
Yep.
me who I should be as a woman, guiding
Yes.
me, praying for me. That is why I dedicated this book to her as well as my goddaughter, because you breathed life into me, and so I can breathe it into other little girls.
Absolutely.
So that's my mama. Hard worker, creative. I mean, well, just makes my dreams come true without me asking. Like she just does it because that's how she's wired. That's my
Absolutely.
mama. Happy Mother's Day, mommy.
Absolutely. For
So that's
sure.
her. Definitely her. Second, the next two are not in my family, but if they ever see this podcast, I am welcoming all aunties. So I think we talked about this. I love Michelle Obama.
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
love her. I read Becoming, and
Yes.
just fell in love with her story and
Mhm.
how transparent and authentic she was about it.
Absolutely.
She's so honest. She did not want to get into politics. She doesn't want to be a lawyer. She was so honest, and it helped me be more transparent in my own writing. And I'm
Right.
like, if the forever first lady of the United States can
Right.
write this book and like bear her heart out there, I
Right.
definitely can.
Sure.
So I'm inspired by all she does, all she wears. Like I love this woman.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
could ever meet her, she was always, it was Kobe, but then it was Miss Lady Michelle Obama. It was my number
Right.
two. So she's now my number one. And I just love everything she does. She's so poised and so classy. And so my
Absolutely.
last one would be someone who has transformed my life through
Mm.
her writing and her sermons. And I love Sarah Jakes Roberts.
Absolutely. We talked about her.
Anybody that knows me,
Yeah.
anyone that knows me
Yeah.
knows I love Sarah Jakes Roberts. And I got to
Yes.
see her preach in person. I mean,
Yes.
I'm waiting for the day that I can actually meet her. But the name Emerge actually came from a sermon that she gave.
Talk
One
about it.
day, sometimes I just listen and take notes on sermons, like just randomly as the,
Yeah.
a little thing I do. And so she kept saying the word emerge, like emerge, emerge. And I'm like, okay. So I opened my journal and I just wrote it, but then I started writing it with the H. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but I'm gonna
Right.
just leave it there. And I prayed over it for like a month. I'm like, Lord, do you need me to do something with this? Like, do you need me to, what do you want it to be? I'm gonna just leave it. I'm gonna just leave it. And so
Right.
it's
Right.
just grown and grown, and he keeps pouring into me. But that's because of her. She I love it. I don't know if you ever watched one of her sermons, but she gets like really revved up and it's like she's
Absolutely.
yelling at you. And I love that. I
Absolutely.
love when she talks like that. It's like she's pulling you out of whatever mental
Yeah.
state you might be in. She's trying to
Yeah.
get you to come and be higher. And I just adore that.
That's
And so
awesome.
she inspires me with her books, with her preaching. She just inspires me to be the absolute best version of myself. So
Oh wow.
those are my top three for sure, with mama being number one always.
Got it. For sure. Mama's always at the top of the list. That's
Always.
incredible. That's incredible. Like I said, everything is purposeful. And I'm hoping, our viewers, I want you to serve your life. You may hear me asking Vanity these questions, but in essence, I'm asking you these questions. Maybe you've never thought of this or never taken the time, but I want you to take the time and think. It's all critical in terms of the handprint that's been left on your life, but it definitely is going to impact the handprint that you're going to leave on somebody else's life. I want to ask you this question. I want you to take a quick minute or so and talk about a pivotal moment in life that changed everything.
Mhm. Well, I would say the one I just talked about did, but there was another one
Okay.
the year after. I had gotten in 2017, after I was on a spiritual high, I would say.
Okay.
Watching sermons. I mean, like I was in it. I was in
Right.
it. I was on it. I felt like I was doing amazing, doing amazing. And then there was a moment in time where I just wasn't doing the right things,
Sure.
and not crime, nothing like that, but I just wasn't doing.
Oh man, we have a bank robber on the podcast, y'all. This girl was
I'm
robbing
actually a
banks. She is
bandit.
confessing. She is confessing. My Lord, this podcast has went to a whole nother level.
Yes, I
this is this is an episode of Cops. This is an episode
right.
of Cops.
No, I wasn't. I started getting lax with it.
Right.
I wasn't seriously fitting myself like I needed to. I was being distracted and
Right.
just kind of like coming really down off that spiritual high. And
Yeah.
I hit the bottom. It plummeted, and
Okay.
I made the decision to move. I lived in Louisiana for 7 years, but 3.5 years after undergrad. And so I made the decision to move back home.
Okay.
And um, God, that was the most incredible decision I could have ever made.
Yes.
My time in Baton Rouge was lovely. It was great. It was more sad than happy, but coming home and coming to a home where people like love you and are supporting you through
Yeah,
whatever transformation period you're in was
absolutely.
so like it just dug me up out of, any pits that I was in. And so from there is where my scholarship came. So
Ah,
I had to come home. It's like I had to go back to what I knew to propel forward. That is what has been in my head for a while. Like I
yeah,
had to go back home, go back to my village, regroup, rehab, and then, shoot out and charge forward to the next
that's
stage.
good.
So
That's really
that's what
good.
happened. I moved home, took, like a month or two. I was also in grad school at the time online. So it was just a lot going on, but I rehabbed. And when I
Right.
came out, it was like I had a scholarship. I was, looking for jobs at the time. I just like
Yeah.
went for it. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. As soon as I started going for it, the devil likes
Oh
to,
my God. He had to
woo,
show up.
yes,
Yeah.
he showed up, and he showed up at really pivotal times. Like when I got on my way to get my into my baptism, my car wrecked. I made it,
Wow.
but
Wow.
not after the car broke down and exit away from the church's exit.
Wow.
This we were on our way. I had my first event with my old organization before I renamed it Emerge. I had my first event. I had my first hosting event, hosting my cousin who's an author, one of her events. It was a great weekend. I I was going to some with my parents and my grandmother. Car was totaled. We could
Mm.
have died.
Wow.
The glass. Oh, I just remember glass everywhere, cuts. We had to go. Yeah, we had to go to the hospital. That was a pivotal moment for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's interesting how that is, played out. It's caused a lot of PTSD while driving,
Right.
but it has also like made me put different things into perspective. And so one of my
Absolutely.
old blog posts was called The Middle Lane. And
Mm.
so because I was so afraid of going too fast in the left and not going fast enough in the right, and people were coming and merging on, I would stay in that middle lane
Oh
on the
wow, that's
feeder road.
incredible.
I would just keep and it was a time period where I just kept playing it safe in the middle road, like in the middle
Yes.
lane.
Yes.
And that was like something that just really spoke to me when I realized it. I'm like, oh no, we gotta get it together. And
Right.
it was only through, I had to start posting affirmations on sticky notes and putting them in my car. It was really bad.
It was
And
bad. I
so,
got
and
you.
just trying to get it. And so, anyways, I said all that to say that 2018 was pivotal for me, not only because I came home so I can move forward, but when I came home and I tried to move forward, somebody tried to take me out.
Absolutely.
And that's how it is. It's like
That's it.
when you start getting to that next point,
Yeah.
something the devil is she's too happy. We gotta do something.
Right.
We gotta ground her spirit. We gotta do something. And so, but God has used all that I have experienced that has,
Right.
hurt me or negatively
Wow.
affected and helped me put that into something that is like part of my purpose. So I appreciate it. I mean, without that accident, I wouldn't have been able to learn how affirmations are so important and how
Right.
necessary they are. I wouldn't have learned, to write my feelings out and get them out, but then also find meaning with them. And so
Right.
my whole life, I'm just trying to change everything that has been painful into purpose. And
Wow.
so that was the really pivotal moment for me.
Wow. Incredible. I think that's, I'm telling you, God, when he says, man, I'm gonna take it, everything, make it, take it all, work it together for your good. I mean, he takes all of it, right? I want to ask you another question. I can't believe, man, our time is almost gone. I'm like,
I
what in the
know.
world? Right? What is it? But it's all good. It's all good. We know it's not going to be the last time. So
Right.
for sure. I want to ask you this question. I think this is it's a question across the board. And obviously we're focusing on our sisters this month. But what in life challenges you to be better? What is it? What things in life they really challenge you? It's like this right here, I have to overcome it. It's gonna make me better. It doesn't necessarily feel so good, but it challenges me to be better.
Well, first and foremost, myself. I mean, I can remember when I was a little girl, super shy, like not, not dancing in front of anybody. And I just like
Sure.
pushed myself out there to try out for the cheerleading team. I feel like that's where it started. I just like pushed myself to do things
Okay.
that make me step out of my comfort zone. And
Right.
so that has been me for a while. Like that blog stepping out of my comfort zone because I had to, bear my scars on the internet, which is a lot. And
Yeah.
just with this book and the scholarship, just putting it out there, especially these books. These are my babies, and I am, I get afraid or I kind of like freak myself out about, negative reviews or people that may not like it or they see it and they say such, social media can be a cesspool. So I get
Hmm.
really nervous before I'm about to like present something to the public. And so,
Sure.
but I challenge myself to do it.
Absolutely.
I'm a I'm a behind the scenes type of girl, but I've had to push myself to the front as I've written books, done scholarships, and
Right.
with my full time job, I host tons of events now virtual in front of people that I've never met before. And so
Right.
I've had to just push myself out of it, which I'm so grateful for because I've gotten experience in interviewing and in hosting and just speaking in general out loud is not something I had a lot of practice in growing up.
Right.
And so I've just gotten to just push myself into it the last year and a half and just go for it. So
That's good.
I would say I challenge myself first, but my loved ones also challenge me
Okay.
to just, oh my god, just go do it, go for it, try something, just step out on faith. That's
Yeah.
something my fiance does for me, his mother does for me,
Yes.
and my parents, they just challenge me to just try it. Like you
Right.
don't know if it reaches one person. My dad always says this: if it reaches one person or a million people, that's who God intended it to reach.
Absolutely. That's
So
good. I like that. I love that. I this has been so fun for me. Your last answer, I think many times, and I want to help someone to identify something. And I want to give you some insider information. When you pray for something and you begin to ask God to reveal to you, oh man, I know I get in trouble for saying this, but it's the truth. I'm at this point, it doesn't matter. When you pray, I'm gonna tell you, many times it's gonna show up as a problem. Because the thing you're praying about, you're praying for, um, is really not the issue. The issue is it's what's needing to be developed and the thing that's needing to be grown in me. And the only way watermelons are going to come forth if you put them in the dirt. And I know we don't like dealing with problems. We don't want to deal. It's like, okay, I just want to be able to get from A to B without it. Now, I'm not saying God created you being in an accident. I'm not saying that at all. But he did use that situation, that horrific situation that you went through to actually move you forward and to build something in you that you are now standing on. And now you can actually take the imprint of your life and put it on somebody else. Right. So I don't want you to think that, she was praying and God caused an accident. I'm not saying that. But I am saying when you reach out and you begin to look, many times it's going to come through some agitation, right? That's what, if you ever pay attention to the washing machine, what gets those clothes clean is not just the tide, but it's the agitation of the washing machine. So do not ignore the agitations of life, right? And I promise you, if you go through the cycle, even though the tide is in there, and we know the tide, that's Jesus, that's the blood, right? That's the thing that ultimately does it, but it doesn't happen without the agitation. And so just listening to all the different stories and the experiences that you shared, we can clearly see and hear the agitation that you've been through in your life. And and I both know the agitation is not over, because it's seasons, it's from faith to faith, glory to glory. And I tell you, oh man, Vanity, this has been so good. I know you have helped so many people, not just women, but you've helped people. Your story think it's a powerful story. And obviously, we're about to run out of time. There's so much more that you can share and talk. And I know we'll have other opportunities to do some things. But when we talked the other night, I told you that God dropped something in my heart, and I wasn't going to share it with you until we got on the podcast. And I want you, I don't know if you've ever heard of this scripture, but as you begin to talk to me, especially when you talked about how you want to leave a legacy, your legacy, but also your grandfather's legacy, and having an imprint. I want to read this scripture to you, and I want you to spend some time praying about it, researching it. But I really learned this scripture, and it's been a part of my life. It's just very powerful. My mom, my spiritual mom, and the scripture is Song of Solomon 8:8, and I want to read it to you. It says, "We have a little sister, and she had no breast. What shall we do for our sister in the day when she shall be spoken for?" And when you were talking about those young ladies and the different things that you want to do, this is what I heard. It's like, I have these little sisters. And now in the context of this, it could be a little sister meaning younger, but at the beginning, what did you say about inspiration, right? Inspiration, it doesn't have just a particular area, particular genre that you can sit in. It's for anybody, whether they're older or younger. And I see just the grace on your life to do that. And I think when you begin to study this out and you begin to see the context of what they were talking about, you're like, wow, that's incredible for what God's called you to do. Hey, New Balance Podcast Show, Miss Vanity, some love. This has been a great interview. I hope you have been blessed by it. I've been blessed by it. I know it's going to change lives. And Vanity, we really appreciate you. We're going to be rooting for you, praying for you. Know that the New Balance Podcast family, we're here for you. And if we can partner with you and help you, we definitely want to do that. Shout out where people can find you. Do you have, what's your IG, your Facebook? If you have a website, tell the people where they can find you. Where can they get these books? Oh, let me stop. Listen, every book she has, go buy them. Listen, I'm getting in the camera. Go buy the book. It's going to bless your life. Purchase both books. Purchase both books. Listen, you may know somebody that has the daughters or whomever. Be a blessing. Just say, look, I'm going to buy this book. I may not need it now. I'm going to bless somebody else with it. Go. Come on. Let's go. My sister, hey, she's put in the work. Trust me, you're going to be blessed by it. Where can they get the information and where they can buy this at, Vanity?
Absolutely. So my two books, A Girl and Her Grandpa and A Crown Like Mine, are both available on Amazon. You can search my name, Vanity Hill, or you can just search the book names and they should pop up. But you can find all this information on my website, and that's www.vanitymhill.com. And it has my books on there. It has any speaking request form, anything. It has all of my information on there. And so I also have my Instagram that's at Vanity M Hill as well. And if
Yes.
you want to learn more about Emerge, either go to my website or you can go to our website, which is www.emhergewithus.com. And so
Awesome.
my journey starting out, and I'm really hoping I can grow this to be something really special.
Absolutely. Hey, it's definitely that. Just encourage you to keep your foot on the pedal, keep growing, keep learning. You're on your way, Vandy. You're doing great things, and we appreciate your contribution to life. So, listen, man, that's another episode. Remember, it's always strength for today, sustenance for tomorrow, and it doesn't matter who you are in life. Remember, there's always room for a new balance. It's your boy, your potential conditioner, H2O. We'll see you when we see you. Love you. Peace.